Yo, this your boy, the real McCoy, coming at you, man. Talking about NFL, man. Talking about my Dallas Cowboys, man. And tough loss today. Tough loss to the Atlanta Falcons at home. You know what I mean? The first half looked promising. It looked real good. The first half, especially the first quarter. But the first half looked good. The second half, you saw the issues we had as far as depth, talent, things like that. Coming into the game, I said the game was winnable, and we were winning at halftime. I mean, it was a very winnable game. I thought this game was very winnable. Excuse me. And I said that because I thought we would be able to control Julio for the most part, like we did in the first half. I mean, great players make plays, man. That's just what it is. But I said if he has a big game, we were gonna have issues. I said maybe we can do 7, 8 catches, something like that, 100 yards and a touchdown coming into the game, that might give us a chance. You know what I'm saying? But when you got 12 catches, 164 yards, 2 touchdowns, it's hard to win like that. Then on top of that, what really beat us was Devontae Freeman. You know what I mean? Devontae Freeman balled out, man. Had like basically a career game. You know what I mean? 30 carries, 147 yards, over 4 yards average, over 4 yards per carry average, 3 touchdowns. I think he had like 5 catches for over 50 yards. I mean, just incredible, man. Incredible. Devontae Freeman and Julio Jones is what beat us. You know what I mean? Not Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan had 12 completions. Half of those were to Julio, 12. I mean, out of the 24 completions he had, 12 to Julio and 5 to Devontae Freeman. You know what I mean? That's 17. That only leaves 7. So those two what beat us. I felt very confident coming into the game that our front 7 would be able to control Devontae Freeman. I'm not knocking Devontae Freeman. Don't get me wrong. In college football, I'm a Florida State fan. He went to Florida State, things like that. He's from Florida like me, you know what I mean? I like Devontae Freeman. I just thought that we would be able to control him, his front 7, not have the negative yards like DeMarco had, but I thought we would be able to control him and just worry about Julio, because Roddy White didn't do anything, and I didn't expect him to be able to do anything. I wasn't expecting that, But if you let both of those go off like that, they're tough to beat. You know what I mean? It's not Matt Ryan. It's Julio and Devontae Freeman. And when you look at the second half, our injuries and suspensions on the defensive line, they took a toll on us. It definitely took a toll. Jerry Jones said after the game that they just got tired. It's one of those games where you look at all the injuries and suspensions that we have, you're not really upset about the loss. I mean, we had like I said, it was a winnable game. We had a chance to win the game. You know what I mean? When you're down to your 3rd, 4th, 5th string defensive linemen, it's a reason why these guys are backups. You know what I mean? It's the NFL. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough to win like that, man. And that's what happened. The offensive line isn't dominant, but like I said, if you're going to get starting offensive line, 4th, 5th defensive line, 4th, 5th string, it's tough. They got tired. You know what I mean? Sean Lee went out for a little bit. He did come back. They just got tired. No kind of path, and we got 1 sack. I think in the first quarter. Maybe 2. I think we got 1 sack. Not a lot of pass rush. And they just teed off on our defensive line, man. And it was Devontae Freeman just ate us up. He ate us up, not taking anything away from the offensive line, from Devontae Freeman. They did they thing. You know what I mean? We were just thin, really thin. No Greg Hardy, no Jeremy Mincey, no Randy Gregory, no Orlando McClain at middle linebacker, who's very good at stopping the run. That's what he was known for coming out of college at Alabama. You know what I mean? It was just tough, man. And I said, Julio looks like he is going to have a big year, man. I mean, maybe 2,000 receiving. I mean, a big year. Julio is about that. He's going to have a big year. I mean, I tweeted out, I said, man, can a wide receiver win MVP? You know what I'm saying? I doubt it, but he's going to have a big year, man. And we controlled him for the most part in the first half. Second half, their talent and depth compared to ours with the injuries and suspensions. That's what took them over the top. I mean, they scored 25 unanswered points. 22 in the second half, but they got that drive right, and I didn't like that drive. We went down, we got our touchdown because Brandon Wheaton threw that horrible pick. I tweeted and said he's playing solid. Sure enough, he scrambling out to his left on the run, and I'm assuming he was throwing the ball to Jason Witten. He was the only one in the 10-yard radius. He threw it high and behind him. I don't think Witten even reached out for it. He didn't think it was coming to him. Horrible pick. They got the touchdown, 21-14, and then he drove us back down. You know, back down to get the touchdown right before the half, 28-14. But they drove right before the half and got that field goal, 28-17. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I wanted to keep them out of no points for the rest of the half. But they got the field goal, sure enough, and they carried that momentum, going 25 unanswered points. I mean, what we did in the first half is what makes me optimistic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we can make some things happen here. You know what I mean? Showing us a lot of potential. Because I said our offensive line and their defensive line, our offensive line can create some running lanes there. I thought they would. Joe Randall had a great first half. Great first half. You know what I mean? The second half is what makes me nervous. Like, I don't know if our offense can sustain our traditional, conventional offense. I don't know if that can sustain over these next few weeks. You know what I mean? It's gonna be tough because the second half they teed off on the run. They were expecting run, and they did what I'd have been doing for the entire game. You know what I mean? And make Brandon Wheaton make throws. I mean, he played solid. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, most of your throws are. I mean, Lance Dunbar had led led the team in receptions with 10, which is good for him. You know, but we need Terrence Williams, who had that big drop. Well, we were down, by 11 on the last drive. I think like 4th and 4, quick slant, hit him right. Terrence Williams, he's always been a body catcher. He don't never really catch it with his hands. And he's not really. Did he even have a catch? I know in the opening drive they tried to hit him up deep in the face mask penalty, but other than that, Terrence Williams ain't really doing anything. Devin Street is not beating one-on-one coverage. I mean, the receivers not really getting any production there. You know, look at Brandon Wheaton. So he had efficient numbers. I think he only had 4 incompletions, no touchdowns, and a pick. But Cole Beasley was the only receiver to have any catches. I think he had like 4. Wheaton had 6. Lance Dunbar had 10. You know what I mean? Things like that. And Joe Randall had 2 coming out of the backfield. So Devin Street and our 2 starting receivers had 0 catches. 0 catches from our 2 receivers. It's hard to win like that in the NFL. It's hard to win like that. Your 2 receivers, no catches? I mean, so teams are going to start putting guys down in the box and make Devin Street and make Terrence Williams or even Bryce Butler, make them beat me one-on-one and make Brandon, you know what I mean? He played efficient. Dunking it down, let Lance Dunbar make some moves, run after the catch, things like that. But, if you 3rd and long, I said the first half, the offensive line, our offensive line kind of, right now we're putting a lot of pressure. As great as they are, we are putting a lot of pressure on our offensive line. They have to be great every game. They have to be. We put a lot of pressure on the offensive line. We couldn't really sustain that in the second half because they were starting to come downhill on the run, expecting run. Because, it's not really, I like Brandon Wheaton. We just, the wide receivers they're not really beating one-on-one man-to-man coverage. And the second half is what makes me like, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. The first half makes me believe, okay, we can win some games. Like I said, I knew even with Romo and Dez and all those guys, we weren't going to go 16-0. I knew that. First half, if we could have sustained that, not saying score another 28 points in the first half, the second half like we did in the first, but put up maybe 10, 13 points, we could have gave ourselves a chance. The first half excites me. The first half is good enough to go on the road and beat the Saints. You know what I mean? The second half, I don't know, man. We're going to have to get some defensive linemen back. You can't, it's hard to run out there with 3rd, 4th, 5th string defensive linemen and say go win the game. It's tough. You got to get some type of pass rush. Defensive line got tired. We couldn't stop the run. Devontae Freeman was getting fresh and stronger as the game went on, which is what you want from your running back. He was getting stronger, fresh as the game went on, and you know, the defensive line, man, it hurt us. It hurt us, man. Like, but it was a winnable game. Winnable game. Julio did his thing. Like I said, he's on pace to have a big year, man. A big year. He played solid. Okay, but you look at his numbers. The first half compared to the second half, it was like two different games basically. You know what I mean? We played them solid the first half. We just our offense couldn't sustain anything really in the second half. You know what I mean? They piled down on the run, and you know the receiver core. I mean, Terrence Williams and Devin Street. We're not gonna win too many games without our receivers getting with Williams and Devin Street getting 0 catches. It's tough to win like that. We got Cole Beasley catching 4. Dunbar catching, which is good for Dunbar, you know what I mean? Dunbar got 10 catches, which is good. You know what I'm saying? But when it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 8, you dump it down to Dunbar, and you got 2 linebackers and a safety corralling them, it's hard to move the chains that way. And that's what teams are starting. That's what I would do. Load up the box for that short pass against the run, and make Wheaton and Terrence Williams and Darren Street or Bryce, whoever, make them beat me one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do. And that's what the Falcons were starting to do a little bit, especially in the third quarter. They was making their run. We couldn't sustain any offense. They were coming down here hard and aggressive against the run. You know what I mean? Things like that. That puts a lot of pressure on our offensive line. As great as they are, at the end of the day, they're human. They have to be great every play, every drive. They got to be great. They can't mess up. They can't slip up. Or Tyrone Smith gave up the sack to Vic Beasley, their first round pick out of Clemson. A lot of potential there. Explosive guy. But, I mean, when a team is, you're basically one-dimensional, and that one dimension that we have, the passing game, you know what I mean? I mean, Williams and Street, I mean, they are what they are. You know what I mean? They're number 2 and number 3 receivers. You know what I mean? I always say always, but I mean, Terrence Williams is playing like a number 3 receiver right now. You know what I mean? He's definitely not number 1. You know, I don't know. I don't want to get on the guys too hard, you know what I mean, with all the injuries that we have. But even when Romo was playing, it's not like Williams was lighting it up. But you can't have 0 catches, Terrence Williams. You can't have 0. Street got 0 catches. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You know what I mean? Defense played as best as they can with the injuries and suspensions that we're going through. Like I said, if you no pressure on the quarterback, an average quarterback in the NFL can just light you up. Average. You know what I mean? But like I said, we got 4th and 5th string defensive linemen, man, and you know, it's hard to win like that in the NFL, man. No doubt about that, man. It's hard to win, but hey, man, we got to keep fighting, keep believing. It's a winnable game. Next week in New Orleans against the Saints, that's a winnable game. On the road. And I know Drew Brees didn't play today. He's probably going to play next Sunday, week 4. But that's a winnable game. Very winnable. With their defense, you know, their offense is struggling with Drew. You know what I mean? We don't have to worry about no Julio Jones in that roster, no Jimmy Graham. That's a winnable game. You know what I mean? Especially looking at the first half. Saying the first half, I think our offensive line can create lanes against the Saints, things like that. But I'll make another video about that. But I mean, it was, like I said, it was a winnable game. The game was winnable. It's just that the overall depth and talent in the second half, you know, the very thin defensive line. It showed. Offense is gonna, it's like he's gonna struggle. Wheaton played solid. Now the one pick he threw was horrible. That was, dude, throw that out of bounds. He played sufficient, but a lot of the passes were short passes, things like that. You know, if we can get that same running game, but sustain that over 60 minutes of football, we can beat the Saints. If we can sustain that over 60 minutes, it's gonna be tough. I'm not saying he has those big, huge runs, but keep them honest. You know what I mean? Not just coming downhill. They're coming downhill aggressive against the run, and they're making us win on the outside one-on-one. And we haven't showed we can do that consistently over the first 3 weeks of the season. Still early. But, you know, the injuries, a game like today, the NFL, the injuries and suspensions, that's what really cost us. That's what really hurt us. That means the NFL, man. You can't be rolling 3rd, 4th, 5th string guys out there as ego winners. It's the NFL. It's hard to win with your starters, you know, every Sunday, you know what I mean? So, You know, it's a tough win. Keep our heads up, Cowboys Nation. I knew the game was gonna be tough. The first half, I was excited. The second half, I said I didn't like that field goal they got on the last drive before the half. I didn't like that. I was concerned, but we were still winning 28-17. They scored 22 points in the second half, and we scored none. We scored nothing, and not even a field goal. Nothing in the second half. You know what I mean? Not even we couldn't do nothing. They just came downhill against the run. They played the run very aggressive compared to the first half. They played it very aggressive. And saying that's what I would do. That's what I would do against this Cowboys offense. And make that, I mean, can't say it enough, man. We got to beat one-on-ones, things like that. Wheaton played solid. It wasn't like Wheaton cost us the game. The pick was horrible. But he played solid, man. Wheaton played solid. Just that big ups to Devontae Freeman. I was not expecting that. He had a breakout game, a career game. Don't know if he can sustain that, you know what I mean? Breakout game for him. I mean, if you had Devontae Freeman on your fantasy team, hey, you probably won today, you know what I mean? Won the week, whatever. But man, it was tough. It was tough. We can't have Julio and Freeman going off on us like that. That can't happen. But with the defensive line and, you know, they came downhill against the run. It's just tough to win like that. But anyway, man, the first half looked good. Second half, not so good. But you can see we can make some things happen offensively. We can sustain the run. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, man. Like, subscribe, man. Leave a comment, all that good stuff. I still got faith in my boys. I still think we can be 3-1 next week down in New Orleans. I believe it's Sunday night football prime time. Winnable game. Another winnable game. And we haven't lost a road game in a long time. Another winnable game. Even with the Drew Brees, I think he'll play. Another Drew Brees with the Drew Brees, a very winnable game. You know, but so I'll make a video about that in a couple of days. You guys know, look out for that, you know, if you want to. And just let me know what you guys think, man. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. You know, Cowboys Nation, keep our head up. You know what I mean? There are some reasons to there are reasons to be, you know what I mean, to be pleased. Okay, we can make some things happen. You know. Anyway, man, it's your boy, the real McCoy, man. Tough loss, but hey, it was winnable. Guys played hard. It was just the injuries and suspensions caught up with us. You know what I mean? This your boy, the real McCoy, man. I'm out. Peace.